Thank you. I call the Maplewood City Council work session to order. Mr. Reese, would you please conduct a roll call?
Okay, am I conducting that tonight or is Karen?
I have,
so in that.
Yeah, in the past, the reason why I asked you, Mr. Reese, is because in the past, Anthony has done it, but we're all good. So yes, please, Madam Clerk.
Councilmember Crossley.
Here.
Councilmember Fockingham.
Here.
Mayor Knapper.
Here.
Councilmember Phillips.
Here.
Councilmember Schmidt. Councilmember Wood.
Here.
Madam Mayor, quorum is present.
Thank you. All right, item number 3, citizen and business survey question review and approval of questions. I think the questions that we have are good. I think we have a lot of them. I think we're one off from 40. So I wanted to talk to y'all about that. Are there some that you think we could possibly go without? And I'm just telling you from my perspective, when I do a survey and it's long, I'm just like, I'm gonna go. I'm not gonna finish this. I'm tired. That's me. I don't think I'm alone in that. And I think that we want to make sure that we get, as many completed surveys that we can. So I just kind of wanted to talk with y'all about that and get your thoughts.
I did think the same thing when I saw that it was 7 pages, because I'm the same way as well. If I get a survey, I'll think, well, I'll do that later. I don't have time right now or something. And I didn't have that in mind about what could be cut out. I was more thinking, I don't think we should add anything because it's already 7 pages, but I see your point. Yeah, I don't know if there's anything we can take out. I'd have to relook at that. I think we all would probably.
I did have a comment, section 26, which begins the beginning of the end about perceptions of the city. I felt like all of those questions, or the majority of those questions in that first section, were all repeats from earlier questions. And I wasn't sure if that was intentional based on their sort of data analytics, if they wanted to repeat some questions and see if there was a difference or something. So I don't know if, we could take that back to ETC and ask them that, but I think that's, 10 questions right there that we could potentially eliminate since they're all asked earlier.
And I agree with that too, because I was thinking about should we start with the overall satisfaction questions at the top, or is that something that you would want to do after you reflect on all of the sectors? So, and I think the perceptions of the city and your own personal satisfaction with these things are kind of the same, right? If my perception is bad, then my satisfaction logically would also be bad. So I'm wondering if we could kind of consolidate the satisfaction and perception and see if they, whatever, kind of is resulting of that should go at the end.
Yeah, I agree. I think some of these questions, are just repeats. And I really don't see any good reason for that either. So.
I was also wondering, just from the get-go in the very first section about the satisfaction, and I can't remember if we talked about this previously, did we want to measure the quality of refuse collection and stormwater, since those are things that we don't manage?
I know we had talked about that for the things that utilities take care of. We didn't want to measure how happy are you with your internet service, or
the city does really hire the refuge services, so we are responsible. And if they're not doing, then we wouldn't, hire them next time as a city. I would.
Yeah.
That was
stormwater. I mean,
Yeah, I don't know about that one.
That's really something that we have very little control over, unfortunately.
I'd be down to take that out. I think we
Hey, it's one more
have a
question
general sense
eliminated.
of, yeah, I think we have a general sense of how MSD is perceived.
Let them do their own survey.
Yeah, yeah, really, they wouldn't dare.
Councilmember Schmidt, I see that you just got on, or maybe you didn't, and I just noticed that you got on. So I just wanted to tell you, the first thing that I said was I thought that the questions were good, but we have, I think, too many. And I was just asking our colleagues if there were some questions that we could possibly remove, because when I take a survey, if it goes on and on and on, I step away from it. I have a tendency not to go back to finish it. And I don't think I'm alone in that. So I just wanted to let you know that was what I was saying. And then right now, that's kind of what we're going through, seeing if there's some redundancy that we can remove. So it kind of lessens the amount of questions that someone would have to answer.
I'm still having trouble. Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Sorry, yes.
Right, thanks.
Councilmember Schmidt, are you saying anything to us?
No,
Okay. I just want to make sure. All right. So I think I heard like there was a possible 2 questions that we could remove that were kind of like multi-part. I don't want to like, I'm trying to be mindful. Perfect is the enemy of good. And so I'm definitely not trying to say anything like, oh, we need to go back to the drawing board. That is not what I'm saying. So if you all are fine and we can approve this tonight with, you know, those questions removed, I'm good to go, just so we can start to get this to our community.
So you're saying remove 2.8 where it says the stormwater deal and the question about internet access? I'm assuming those 2 questions. Well, what 2 questions are we talking about then? I must have missed that.
I think it was 26.
Yeah, the section 26 at the end, since that's a
Okay.
repeat of virtually every question in there is a repeat.
Okay. I mean, I would before we delete that, I would think I would want to ask them.
Yeah.
Is it, there may be a reason why you
Mhm.
ask questions a second time after you filled out a survey in its
Yeah.
entirety. So it'd be kind of interesting to see what they say.
Okay.
Okay, so 26, maybe yank, and then is the internet one?
Where's, I don't think we said to remove an internet question. We,
Oh,
we
okay.
did that in the previous conversation, and they did modify.
Yeah, other than that, it looks good to me.
The stormwater one, we are going to take that out because that's number 8 on section 2.
I only had a couple other comments, but if someone else wants to comment, since I've been talking a lot, please do.
Please talk.
So on the first page in that the section about overall satisfaction, how well is the city planning growth? So question number 3 in section 4. I just felt like, because we don't have a lot of growth, I wonder if we should use a different word. And I thought maybe how well is the city managing growth? Because I think planning really indicates something different than what we're able to do. Maybe it's just the way I'm reading it.
No, I see what you're saying, and I agree with you on that. I guess when I see planning growth, I'm thinking the ability to expand. That's just me, though, and I could see managing growth to be not really focused on expansion.
Mhm. But expanding what? You know, we can't expand our footprint. We can't expand.
That's what I'm saying. I agree with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or should we just remove that question?
No, I like that question because we are seeing growth, and that growth is affecting, you know, our incoming classes for schools. So I do like that question.
Mhm.
I agree. I like managing better.
What's the next one?
The other note that I have, or second note that I have, is just more of a typo. In section 14, where it says what 3 actions listed in question 11 would to improve blah, 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 the city's parks and recreation. Write in your answers below using the numbers from the list in question 7. So I think that's a typo. I would assume they're referring back to question 11 again, so. And then the additional question that we had added under city leadership, section number 22, where we had the overall quality of leadership provided by the city's elected officials, and then we have the accessibility of the staff and the accessibility of the appointed boards and commissions. I thought we had wanted a question about the accessibility of elected officials. Accessibility about ourselves, not the boards and commissions.
Yes, I agree that I think we wanted to say, I don't think we wanted to change the questions that were there about the boards and commissions and staff. I think we just wanted to add a question about accessibility of elected officials.
Yeah. And then my only other comment was question 24, from which of the following sources do you get information about city news and events? And maybe Laura can just answer this for me, where it says e-notifications. I don't know what that is. So I don't know if we can clarify what that is. I mean, I know there's the email notifications. So if we should maybe clarify that that's what that question, that's what that item is.
I can change that to email notifications because that's exactly what it is.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Is it text messages too? I thought it was text messages and emails.
So when you sign up through the city's website, you can receive it via email or via a text message.
Okay.
Essentially the same message. Obviously the text is consolidated because we're limited.
Mm-hmm.
So you could just phrase it email/text notifications. Clarify it.
I had a couple, if you guys can hear me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I know we were trying to cut, but I guess I had a question in number 10. When you look at some of the examples about parks, like we've asked in number 6 about, you know, how satisfied you are with the athletic fields, but, you know, one question was how satisfied are you with park amenities? And I thought that actually was even maybe more important than the fields. So I didn't know if we wanted feedback on that. So it meant like picnic tables, shelters, playgrounds is what they had in parentheses. And then there is a typo in section 17, number 1. I think it says junk 0. And then in section 23, I was curious, in some of the examples, they asked about the quality of the city's website. Did we leave that off because we're redoing our website? Or I kind of think our website is where a lot of people go, and maybe getting some feedback on that would be helpful. You know, they had how the quality of the website or how user-friendly it is. So I thought that would be helpful information. And then there was a section that I really liked in the, let me find it. It was in the first example that was attached. And it was section, it was in section 15. So it's page 12 of the packet. And it was behavior of employees, and it asked, you know, they were courteous and polite, they gave accurate answers. Like, I think that kind of information is helpful in understanding if we have an issue. You know, staff is mostly who's dealing with the public on issues. And so, you know whether we're resolving issues or I just thought those were kind of helpful questions maybe to get some feedback on, but.
Councilmember Schmidt,
I'm sorry?
regarding the website, Anthony and I had removed that since we're in the process of redoing our website, but we're happy to put that back on.
I mean, maybe it makes, I don't know what other people think, maybe it makes sense to wait till it's finished and it's new and then catch it the next time around. Since there's no qualitative data being given, not like what's wrong with it, it's just an answer. So I wondered if that was the case. So that's fine with me. I didn't know what people thought about, you know, that whole section on, you know, behavior of employees, if they thought that would be helpful data to collect.
I don't know. I honestly, I'd like for Mr. Reese, I'd invite you to, you know, speak to that. And the reason why is because we could get that information, but we couldn't do anything about it, right? Like we couldn't, that would be the city manager to have. So I think if Mr. Reese wants that information, then yeah, I would be fine with that. But if not, then, you know, I'm okay with that too.
Thank you, Mayor.
I guess my, oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Well, I guess my counter to that is that I think it affects the services being provided if we're not doing that. So I guess I'm not saying we would necessarily be acting on that, but I think the point of this is to gather data all around about how our city is functioning or what, you know, needs to change. And even if we don't need to change it, if the city manager does, I guess I thought that would be helpful information, but.
Yeah, Mayor and council member, I'm supportive of keeping it. I think it would be a valuable tool for both you and certainly for me.
Okay. Is that's something we need to add in, right? We don't already have that.
Yeah.
It's in the City of Merriam example, and it's at the bottom of section 15 in the box.
Would you like to see that in number 22?
Wherever it makes sense to add it is fine with me. I didn't have a particular place.
I'm thinking inserting it after number 19, maybe, because that's where it indicates if they've had any interaction with staff. And
Yeah.
then after that point, asking about the more specifics about the behavior.
Yeah, that looks like a good place to put it.
Yeah, that makes sense to me too.
Yep.
Did anyone have any more questions that they wanted to address?
We need, I don't know, this is one of those, I know we added, under 27, we added the proximity to places and things such as shops and parks, or I think we maybe modified that from the original. Do we need that section 27, those 4 questions there? I mean, we have the, what are the community's strengths and weaknesses as free-form comments. I just wonder if this is another redundant question or it's something that we sort of already know, but I don't know.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just, waffling on that subject, so.
I would like to keep number 27 because that data is going to be helpful to the folks on the Human Services Commission.
Okay.
I wonder though if we want to consider the things we can't change, right? So like easy access to highways. We can't really, if it's unimportant to someone, or if it's very important to someone, that's helpful just anecdotally, but we can't change that outcome. Nor could we, I guess, to kind of maybe to Sandy's point, change someone's proximity to places and things and like a built environment that we have. So I don't know. I mean, if there is like an actual utility for the Human Services Commission, I'd be curious to like know more about what that would be.
So right now, when I talk to folks about the Human Services Commission, it's pretty much like potential folks that would want to be a part of it, right? To want to be appointed. I'm letting them know, like right now, starting off, you all are a think tank. But what that commission focuses on is like transportation, which is a big one. And when I see this, that's what I'm thinking about. Like I'm thinking about transportation. You know, if you don't have, and then so like let's talk about number 4, right? Easy access to highways. What does that mean, right? Like that the access, it's not solely are you able to get on to 170 with ease or 64 with ease. It's like is there a bus stop nearby? How far is the bus stop? That's what I'm trying to get the data for us to keep that. So if we need to reword some things, I'm supportive of that, but I'm looking at this like this because you can see throughout this, like Parks is going to get this data and they're going to be able to use this. And so I know that throughout this, the Human Services Commission can get data from this too. So that's why I'm just like, I really would like to hold on to it. Definitely fine with rewording some things though, that's more focused on access to bus stops or crosswalks, sidewalks that are, easily available, things like that.
Yeah, I mean, you could just add a question number 5, easy access to public transportation.
Mm.
I know Maplewood, we do have relatively easy access to. It'd be interesting to see what people think about that.
Mm-hmm. All right. Did anyone have anything else? Okay.
Did you get all that, Laura?
Right. That's thank you. Because I'm like, okay, what are next steps now? Because we're not able to approve tonight.
So I'll go ahead and make the changes and send them off to Michael for approval. Could I ask one question just so I have clarification? You didn't have any changes to the first draft of the business survey?
We really hadn't discussed that one yet. I mean, right?
Right.
So
I also don't see it in the packet unless it's with like the examples.
I didn't see it in the packet either.
You didn't see the business survey?
Maybe I missed it.
Yeah, because I
Like in
definitely,
this existing work session packet.
It wasn't included in this one because I didn't see any comments from the last work session to make changes to it. So that's why it was excluded from this packet.
oh, I had mine from before. And one thing I was going to ask for the business survey is that there were no questions. I didn't see any questions about how satisfied they were with the city leadership. And I noticed in Weldon Springs, they had that included in their business survey. So I thought we could add that and we could just put the same way as Weldon Springs had theirs. There's this item number 14, and there's like 4 questions in there. So I just thought it would be nice to see how they felt about leadership. And the other one I had on the business survey was on item number 2, there's how satisfied are you with, and there's 14 things. Number 15, I was thinking we could put how satisfied are they with the trash and recycling, because that also was on one of the other cities. And so, you know, I think they're part of the trash and recycling, so we could just add that. And that was all I had on the business one.
Councilmember Wood, I believe that those that are in the Marietta parking lot, take care of that. We schedule that trash and recycling, and then the businesses pay for that. However, the businesses in other areas are responsible for their own trash and recycling.
Okay, so you think that wouldn't be appropriate to ask that question then?
Let me get with Anthony to find out.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, some of the businesses, it might, but yeah, okay.
We could potentially add one of those, like yes or no. If you're part of the special business district, then, you know, rate your satisfaction with trash and recycling. And if not, then skip the question maybe. So that might be a way around that.
Thank you, Councilmember Wood.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So now next steps. Ms. Laura, excuse me, Ms. Miller, what does that look like?
So I'll get these changes made and get these to Michael. I'll actually do that by end of day tomorrow since I am headed out of town.
Okay.
And then, and I'll make sure Michael will meet with ETC. We'll try and get them on the phone tomorrow. Because then we'll send this back to ETC and they'll reformat, because I know there are some formatting issues going on currently, and they said that they'll address those. And then they'll send out a 3rd draft for review.
Thank you.
And with that 3rd draft, you'll also have the cover letter for the business survey and the cover letter for the community survey to approve as well.
Now, if my colleagues would help me, do I have a correct understanding that these surveys were just going to specific people, or is this, yes, let me just start with that. Is this just going to specific people in like the citizen survey and the business survey?
My understanding is that it's just random and the company sends them out. They know how many in Ward 1, Ward 2, and Ward 3. They're random. Like Like if, say, somebody saw this survey and they didn't get a letter, they couldn't take the survey. So we can't just hand these out or tell people, oh, go online and do that, because it's only for those that the ETC sends it out to. That's
So I think I understood that slightly differently, so that we were mailing it out to like a statistically significant sample, but then it would be available like online as well. So that way we for sure like secure responses from like a broader range of Maplewood.
That's not the way I was told when I inquired about it with Anthony. So,
Okay.
because I think, you know, this is just the only way it works is if it's random. We can't pick and choose who we're asking to fill this out. You can do it online. If you're the person that receives it from ETC, you can either send it or you can do it online. But that was my understanding, that other people, you know, are not involved, because otherwise it wouldn't be a true random survey. It'd be, you know.
I think we probably need some clarification from ETC then, because I understood it similar to how Councilmember Crossley did, that there would also be a link available through the city's website, and we would be able to promote it via Facebook and have a QR code at the various places that, you know, if people chose to go there, that that it would be available to them. So I think we need to have clarification from ETC about that.
Yeah, I agree, because I was not told that same thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, okay,
We can get that clarification.
thank you. All right. Anything more on item 3? Okay, so we're going to move on to item 4, August 29th, 2021 Town Hall discussion. Councilmember Crossley, would you take that away?
Yeah, so I sent everyone sort of a rundown of where we are, what we've got, what we need. So I think probably one of the first things we need to decide is what time, unless we have decided that and I have neglected to write that down. So August 29th is a Sunday. No matter how we schedule it, we will be excluding some and including others, but I think we can try to aim for the most accessible time on a Sunday that we can, and intend to block out 2 hours, knowing full well that it could run shorter or longer depending on attendance.
How is
I
2?
personally, oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was just asking, how was 2 in the afternoon?
I'm fine with that. I was thinking that, or like starting at 2 or starting at 4, but I don't want to tiptoe into dinner time too closely.
Yeah, I'd say middle of the afternoon, so like 1:30, 2 o'clock, I think.
I agree.
I just wanted to remind everybody that I am not going to be available. When we picked this, I did make that known that I wouldn't be here that day, but so I just wanted to let you know. I'm happy to work on whatever, getting ready for it, but I won't be available that day.
Thank you. So I'm hearing 2 to 4. At some point we were talking about sort of a hybrid, or if we could do in person partially while providing a virtual option. It is my recommendation that we do virtual fully at this point. I think operationally implementing a hybrid option, it would be challenging in this timeline, but also just like with the reality of the pandemic, fully virtual is a good idea. And I could not remember or tell from my notes if we had decided that.
I don't think we made a decision. I think we were always talking about it, and I remember your last recommendation was to go virtual, and I think we can make that decision now, and I support just having a virtual town hall.
Agreed.
Yeah, I agree. No
All
reason
right.
for a super spreader event.
Right?
Yeah, I think that's wise. So we had talked about starting, and Michael, I don't know how much of this is news to you, but we would like to use you as leverage to convince people to come. And so we had talked about using this as an opportunity to for us to introduce you to the community and for you to introduce yourself as well. So we'd like to start with that. Giving you, I put down 3 to 5 minutes. If it's 5 to 10, if it's closer to 3, I don't know that it necessarily matters, but giving you the opportunity to, share who you are, how we convinced you to join us and that sort of thing. We can set aside that time.
Sounds good to me. Yeah, I saw that on the trail of emails. So
Perfect. And then we've talked a little bit about like it's important for us to set the rules of engagement, do our value set, that sort of thing. I think we're all aligned on that. As for the community conversation part, I had currently set up some sort of like public forum set up, 3 minutes a person. We'll see how long it goes. But Mayor, you had mentioned something about breakout rooms.
Yeah.
What was sort of your vision for that?
I was thinking about Zoom discussions that I've been a part of in the past where they will talk to you about values of what they're discussing. And then they'll say, okay, we're going to break you out into these break rooms. And so then I would be in a break room with a small group of folks, and then we would just talk about whatever they told us to talk about, right? And then we would go back into the bigger group, and then folks would kind of discuss a bit more after that. And so what I was thinking about those breakout groups is I think it would be good for community members to get a chance to talk with each other about what they see, their experiences, what those values that are important to them and what they'd like to see, the values they'd like to see in our community. Just having that discussion with their neighbors, I thought would be good. And it doesn't have to be long. I think, when I've participated in those breakout rooms, I think we might be in there for like 5 minutes. So it's not long.
I think that's nice too, to offer a smaller setting because sometimes people don't feel comfortable sharing in a larger group setting. So I would maybe argue for a little bit longer, like 10 minutes, just to because presumably there will only be as many breakout rooms as there are of us, I guess. So it may be a little larger of a group depending on how many people show up, maybe. But I like that.
I love the idea. I've also been a part of a lot of those types of meetings for work. And I think it is going to depend on how many people are in the rooms. If you need 10 minutes or if you really only need 5, if there's really only 3 people in each room, you probably don't need that amount of time. So if we schedule for 10 and only need 5 because there's not that many attendees, then we're catching up and ahead of the game. So
Awesome. And then were you envisioning like council members sort of facilitating the conversation or like taking notes and then synthesizing on behalf of the group or asking someone in the group to volunteer?
I was thinking about council members being a part of those breakout groups, but I'd like to hear all of y'all's thoughts on that. But that's what I was thinking. At least you would be a part of the group. Like you don't have to be the facilitator in it. Maybe you ask someone else if they're comfortable with doing that. Maybe you just sit back and say, I'm a part of this because I want to hear from you directly. But I'm not leading this. So whoever wants to speak. I don't know. But I definitely wasn't that we would facilitate it. I just wanted us to be a part of it. But
yeah, no, I think that makes sense. I think would be easier not to facilitate it as long as the group is sort of like self-starting, and as long as the group is good at sharing. And so I like the idea of sort of like sitting back and listening and taking notes. I think that's a good idea.
So the breakout rooms would just be breakout rooms with no agenda or anything like that.
No, there would be an agenda, if you will. You know, you would say, okay, what would you like to see as the mission of the city of Maplewood, or the value statement? What's important to you? Like, we would send them into the breakout rooms with something to discuss, which would entail, you know, the values.
Okay.
Yeah.
More of like a prompt, even like
Yes.
here are the types of here are the
Yes.
types of questions we want you to address. You don't have to go one by one, but
Right. Right.
So would we do that after the public forum, you think? Or before the
It could-
public forum?
it could replace the public forum, or I kind of like the idea, if we want to keep the public forum, of doing the breakout groups first, and then we have maybe folks share what they said in the breakout room, and then an open public forum, which might mean that we hear from some of the same people that were speaking during the breakout rooms, but also might have given people enough time to, like, quote unquote, warm up to the idea of speaking publicly, so then they feel inclined to share.
Okay. Just an FYI, breakout rooms are not recorded. So if we do this webinar and then we do breakout rooms, only the main webinar is recorded, not the breakout rooms. I just wanted to make people aware of that. And
Okay.
there's no way around that with Zoom. So no, I think that's a good idea. I would imagine as long as we keep it to 10 minutes or less. And then, you know, we could kind of speak about what our group said and then allow a public forum for people to clarify their thoughts or add to it or whatever the case may be. I think that's a good idea.
When we're dividing people into breakout rooms, were you thinking like it's sort of like a free space and it's sort of by number, or were you like thinking about like this breakout room is dedicated to like the topic of parks and this one's dedicated to the topic of police?
I wasn't. I was just thinking we were just going to take folks and put them in a room.
Mhm.
And
think
then
Yeah.
it would be nice if, you know, if someone in one of the groups organically wanted to talk about the police and that comes up, like, then go for it.
I would say send everybody out to the breakout with the same question and just randomly assign people. That's generally how the webinars that I've attended have done it. So you send everybody away and you leave the questions or 1 to 3 questions on the screen and send everybody away and just randomly assign so that there's no rhyme or reason to who they're in the room with.
Yeah, each council member on would have, or each panelist would have a room,
Mhm.
and host or co-host could assign people randomly to each of those breakout rooms. I'd have to kind of see how that works on the client side, because I think you'd be invited to a breakout room. I don't think you necessarily have to, it's not forced upon you or anything like that. So maybe I can get with Laura later this week and do a test on that real quick and make sure it functions as we anticipate it to function.
Thank you. I've been, I guess, forced into a room.
Yeah.
It wasn't an invite. It was like, and you're going in 3, 2, 1. And then I just popped up with a group of folks that, you know, I didn't know. And then we just started talking. So
And maybe that's exactly how it works. I've never done breakout rooms in any of the Zoom meetings
Okay.
I've done.
Yeah.
So I've seen them in action, but I've never been invited to one. I don't know if that's good or bad, but
I've never done one in Zoom, but I've attended many of them in webinar,
Yeah.
in WebEx, and
Yeah.
you're put into a room. Now, some people, when they show up in the room, they don't turn their mic or their camera on, so they're not really there. You know, they've stepped away.
I think you can set it up either way. So I think I've been in the situation where all of a sudden you're in a room too. So I'm in a Zoom. So I'm guessing we could do that.
I'd much rather have it random.
Okay, makes sense to me. So quick question, or we have a couple decision points on the surveys. It sounds like Jenny, you've started thinking about this a little bit too. Unless I am misremembering your email, which is totally fine.
So one question I have for you was, I liked the idea. So I think one of your survey options was allowing people to submit a survey, sharing their thoughts, right? Like they don't have to attend this meeting. We could allow them to go on the website. And I think that's a great idea since not everyone's gonna be able to attend this. So I liked that. I liked your after action survey suggestion too. I think it's always helpful to get feedback to see if what we did was effective or how we could make it better. My survey I was talking about was for when, and I am probably going to need some help, and I have a question maybe for Laura, was when kids submit their project, they submit it electronically. I think we were just trying to capture some data with their submission. And I made a form, but it says if you're going to allow a file upload, it uploads to your Google Drive. And so I didn't know if the city has a Google Drive, that we would create the form on the city's Google account so that those projects are submitted to the city and not to me personally. So I've reached the limit of my expertise or lack thereof.
Yeah, the city does not have a Google Drive per se. So
We do have functions on the website
Okay.
utilize.
Okay, so could I maybe connect with you, Laura, and see if there's a way we could do that through whatever you guys have available?
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
For the public participation before the event and the after action, I think like for the boards and commissions, like I had just done a Google survey, but if we're looking into something else with the city for like their account, could we just sort of do it all on that side as well? Okay. Okay. I think if there's something specific that you all want to like add to either the initial survey or the after action survey, I'm happy to add that. You're welcome to say that now or communicate it via email. Just let me know by Friday, end of day Friday, because I'm going to make these this weekend.
Oh, go ahead. Forgive me.
yeah,
I was just going to, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to add, if we can, in the advertising cadence, is to have some mechanism where people could submit questions that may not be able to be there or don't want to do it publicly anyway. They do that for a lot of town halls. And, we can look at them and just kind of, I'm sure they're going to fall into, 5 or 6 of this kind of same questions that we could someone could answer at some point during that town hall as well. I don't know if you guys want to do anything like that either. Sort out there.
I'm wondering if we can frame the survey before the event sort of like that. Like if you can't attend and have a question or a specific comment, submit it here. And then that way we have the necessary contact info to follow up if it's like a specific constituent issue, that sort of thing.
I wanted to talk with you all about like the questions, like the value questions we would ask. What are you all thinking? Right now, I'm thinking of questions like, you know, asking a neighbor like, okay, who is a citizen, and what does citizen mean to you? What is community? What does community mean to you? And then let me just kind of segue just a bit. Do we have a mission statement for our city? And do we have a value statement for our city?
I'm pretty sure we have a mission statement. As a value statement, no.
Okay.
But certainly we have a mission statement. The last time we did that mission statement was some time ago during one of our goal planning and setting sessions. I'm going to tell you the last time that happened, Mayor was Chief White.
So not Mayor White, Chief White. Like,
well, no, he was Mayor White.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
No, it's there, and I'll dig through my stuff, and if I find it, I'll send it your way. But I'm sure Laura or Anthony will be able to get it to you guys too as well. So
Okay.
And we had talked about, those are things we had talked about whenever we did our goal setting and stuff, was creating a value statement was one of the things. And so we were waiting for a new city manager and all that. So that's probably something we could do here in the fall.
I think using our town halls would be really good to get community input on it, which I'm sure that's what you all were thinking already. So, okay. So yes, so what questions are you all, thinking about to get the responses from our community?
I like the questions on the kid flyer. I mean, they're pretty basic, and I think it would be interesting to see if we use the exact same questions, if we see the difference in what kids say versus what adults say.
I had the exact same thought, Sandy. I was reading the kids' things and I think, you really can't do better than this.
Yeah.
You could word it a little different, but really it's getting to the heart of it. I like it. I like it too.
Yeah, I think they're direct and to the point, and I think they get at some of those things that we want to know.
Yeah.
And then I think if we want to add a question about, or questions about, like, what should Maplewood's mission statement reflect? What should Maplewood's value statement reflect? I would want us to have like tight definitions that help explain the difference, so that when a community member answers it, they give us the best possible result.
That's a good point. I like that. Yeah.
All right. Any objection to the addition of the questions that I stated to the questions that Councilmember Schmidt created for the questions she created for the young ones? All right. But I would just give that to the adults, unless you all wanted to include it. I was just focused on the adults.
No, I wouldn't add to the flyer and the questions that are on that prompt.
Cool.
I think that's really solid.
Yeah.
I think the last, sorry.
I was just gonna say, I think the flyer is great just the way it is. So
Yeah, that was really nice. She did a great job.
yes, thank you, Carla.
Yeah.
He's talented.
I think the last piece of this is the advertising cadence, and this is where I would like some volunteers. It sounds like Jenny has started pieces of this, but
Well, I was gonna volunteer to do talk and walk because that's something that, I can
I was
do.
going to ask what those are because, to be honest, I don't remember having specific conversations about how and when and what that means in terms of getting this out before the end of this month.
So a talk and walk is pretty much you walking throughout neighborhoods in your ward and the city would let the neighbors know that, a council member is going to be walking in your area on this day. And if you want to just come outside and chat with them, if you see them, you can do that. So it's kind of like a porch visit, if you will, but it's not planned. You're just walking around, dropping off flyers. And if someone comes out to talk with you, then you talk with them.
That was what I had in mind. Hopefully that was what we're gonna do. And we're going to do it by wards, is that right? Like I would be in my ward walking and Sandy would be walking. We would either be together or separately whenever, that's my idea. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's essentially a lit drop along with just the city is going to let everybody know that we're out.
Yes.
And that needs to happen in advance of the town hall.
Yeah.
Yes.
And to clarify further, we are going to drop at every residence.
We can talk about that.
I don't know how you choose. So it seems like that's the problem if we're going to lit drop. No.
What were your ideas for distributing the flyers that you created?
For the kids?
Yes.
So my plan was more of, reaching out to the different organizations like the churches, the school. I had said, because this concept was created in connection with the town hall, that I would also bring them along so we could distribute them as well. But I was more going to try to do through targeted organizations that have a lot of contact with the kids.
If you don't want to lit drop, I think it's okay. I think if you still just want to walk around, I think that's good. I will tell you that I have had walks with Councilmember Crosley, and folks will just see us walking together and they'll come out and talk to us. And that's without an announcement.
And I thought that's what we were doing, maybe, was just walking around and catching people as they were out and about, and then giving them the flyer when we connected with them.
Yeah, we definitely, if you don't want to lit drop, you don't have to. I will say I probably will have some of the children's flyers just readily available. I don't see myself putting them on every door, but I like to have them so I can give them to folks that I see when I'm walking around, especially if they have children with them.
Right. Yeah. But did we also, Sarah, I thought you said also, we're going to have like a little information flyer about the town hall too, right? So we could just give them both.
Right. That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
So it's partially, and I thought on that flyer too, we could obviously include the information, like, when, what time, here's the, where you can find the Zoom link. And then here's the survey link. So if you're not able to join us, here's how to provide your comments via this survey. So it's just an extra way for us to either drive turnout or drive survey responses or both. So that would be part of it. And it could just be a small, palm-sized piece of paper. Nothing, it doesn't even have to be, in color. It could be black and white. But I would like to, oh, sorry, go ahead, Sandy.
So this is something that still needs to be created, including the surveys. And then we have to distribute it with enough notice for people to schedule if they want to join us. So we are definitely up against a deadline.
Yeah,
seems
and
Weekend before, right? Like that's when you would do your walk and talks.
That's when I was planning, if I did one, would do it the weekend before. So people would remember for
Yeah.
one thing.
and I could do the surveys, but if someone could mock up a flyer, that would be helpful.
Mr. Reese, are you able to have someone mock up a flyer for the town hall?
Yes, we can do that.
Okay, thank you. And I'll just let you all know, there's a strong possibility that I'll probably do walk and talks before that weekend before. Like in addition to, but that's me.
What about signs, like, at intersections? I know when we had our one town hall, we had some little signs that we put out saying there was going to be a town hall. Of course, that was going to be in person, but do you think we should try signs again?
I think it's a good idea.
I think it got some people there last time. I really do. Because some people that aren't on computers and stuff, I saw them there. There were, so not everybody's going to see everything on the computer. So
Councilmember Wood, where were the signs?
they were like, it's intersections. I remember there being one at Laclede Station Road in Folk. They were just like yard signs, only they were just,
Yeah.
I do remember there one being there, but I saw them throughout the city at different places where there was a lot of traffic that we could put it.
Yeah.
I'm thinking
I don't
Anthony.
remember, maybe Anthony might remember where they all were, because I remember seeing quite a few of them around, and but I don't remember where they all were.
Yeah. And I'm sure they still exist. We should probably just need to get a sticker to
Mhm.
go over them that says, that has the date and virtual, Zoom or something to direct people to the right place.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll follow up on that. Thank you.
I did have a question about, I know, it'd be easy to contact the schools. I wonder if there's a list. There's a lot of churches in Maplewood. I just wondered if there's a list someplace of all the churches that maybe the city would have. I don't know. I've never seen a list of them, but I just know there's a lot of them around. So I wouldn't mind, helping with that. But I just would like to know if there was a list, so we could maybe look into that, if the city has a list.
I see Laura shaking her head, yes.
Oh, she does, yeah. I figured Laura had one. Okay. Well, then I
In
can.
this,
Her.
in this Maplewood welcome that I received today, there's a list of churches in the back.
Yes, okay, I forgot about that. Yeah,
Second day I got this. So.
all right, well, I'm glad. Thank you for your help, because I had forgotten they were on there.
Is there, Laura, are there email addresses in there?
That's what I was wondering.
Or at least a phone number, I guess.
Here's a phone number.
Okay.
We
Okay,
have get contact names for you.
okay, that'd be great.
Awesome. So we have our date and our time. Karen's going to take point, Councilmember Wood is going to take point on reaching out to the churches.
Yep.
So I feel good about that. Sorry, Jenny, what were you saying?
No, I was just going to update you. I mean, I think it's probably what you're about to get to, but I have been in communication with the library. They are on board with helping us out. Their staff is I defer to them about, with their different age groups, what they thought, the best idea of bringing the concept of community to a book group or what, whichever. So they're thinking on that, and we're going to meet we're not going to meet about that until like the 24th that week, but I know they are willing to help disseminate information so we can follow up specific to our town hall. I mean, I can do that. And then I reach out to the superintendent of the school district, and we're going to set something up when her assistant returns next week. So I can also bring up the town hall, and if, asking if Mr. Rich could help disseminate information about that as well. So I can do those too.
That's great. Dr. Jameson knows about the town hall and actually plans to be in attendance. So
Great.
yeah.
So I think that was my list. I think the only thing we need now is maybe a Facebook event on the city's Facebook page. Now that we have the time set, we can do that and then update it with the Zoom information once we've scheduled that. And I think I see Laura taking a note, so I think we're good to go on that.
Laura, did you get that? We can't hear you.
Got it.
Okay.
Poor Laura's list is growing longer and longer before her vacation.
Do we need what? Let me ask it this way. What else do we need? What have I forgotten?
Is there a deadline for the kids to submit their projects? I don't remember if I saw that on the flyer.
I purposely left a deadline off because I don't think we have established one. And I think that we can just, when we advertise it, as we determine one, we can just set it in the advertising, was my thought.
Yeah, because you want them, we want to talk about it during the town hall and to generate excitement about it during the town hall, but I would expect that the projects are going to come in after the town hall, right?
Yeah, I think I was envisioning like a fairly long period during which they could be submitted, because, I think if we can, I can get my kids to talk it up with their friends, and then we can sort of get some classes involved, or when the library does, that might help spread information about it. So.
Okay, that's kind of what I thought too. I just wanted to clarify that.
Any further discussion on item 4? All right. Okay, item 5, 9/11 20-year anniversary. Councilmember Phillips.
Yes, thank you all for your support. We're coming up on the 20-year anniversary of 9/11, and I wanted to have Maplewood honor our first responders and honor that day in a way that is that's Maplewood. So my idea was a blood drive, and fortunately my neighbor across the street works for the Red Cross, so he put me in contact with the Red Cross coordinator for our area, and Laura has generously agreed to work on this project as well. So we are looking at the Friday, September 10th for our date. Unfortunately, the actual anniversary date was not available with the Red Cross, but they are available on the 10th. So they're pretty excited about it because the city of Maplewood has never hosted a blood drive. So they're pretty excited. We talked about having it the afternoon of Friday, September 10th. And they schedule 5-hour time blocks for their blood drives. So we talked about doing like 1 to 6 so that we can ideally get some community members to be able to participate at the end of their day on Friday. And hopefully our city employees, I'm not 100% sure, but Michael, if you can double check and see if the city staff gets time off to donate blood while we're there, that would be great. And the thing that I'm most excited about that they actually do the Red Cross does is they call it the Battle of the Badges, and they between the firemen and the police officers, they try to, there's a contest as to who can get the most donors to show up. So, so we talked about doing it at the firehouse. It will probably be in the meeting room at the firehouse. And we're pretty excited about it. And the Red Cross is pretty excited about it. So, so with hopefully with everyone's support tonight, we'll move forward with the planning on that and get that rolling.
That is really great. Thanks a lot, Sandy, for thinking of that, because I know there's a real need right now for blood. You know, we're hearing that all the time, so it's a perfect solution for that.
Yes. And it's a great tie-in with the first responders doing the Battle of the Badges. And so.
All right. Any additional discussion on item 5? And I guess before I move on, I believe we are all in agreement that we wholeheartedly support this. I just want to. Yeah. Okay. All right. All right. Item number 6, ordinance review committee discussion. Excuse me. Okay. Councilmember Schmidt sent all of us an email asking us a question about a community member who is no longer on a board or commission being a part of the ordinance review committee. And I wanted to have this discussion with you all because I'd like for you to consider opening this committee up, or these committees up, these ordinance review committees up. I know right now you all have it set as people that have been appointed to a board or commission are invited to volunteer to be a part of an ordinance review committee. However, I find that very restrictive. And I think that if we allow people that are not currently appointed to a board or a commission, then we can see a couple of things happen. One of which is we could get a community member to, let's say, join the plan and zoning ordinance review committee. And that committee, that member that's not already appointed could talk to people that are already on that committee or that board and learn more about our ordinances, give their input as well. So, and then possibly become interested in wanting to be on it. Yes, I am looking at trying to find volunteers in our community that want to serve on board and commissions. And I think being able to invite them to this process to be a part of it on this level would be helpful to that. The other thing that I think we could benefit from is prime example, the person that was not reappointed to that board and commission. That person is, I'm talking about parks. That person is a director of parks for another city. And so if that person wanted to volunteer their time, I don't think that we should exclude them from that. All of this is volunteer. So I'm just looking at it like right now, it's very exclusionary, the way that we have it, and I'd like to open this up so community members that want to assist or want to learn more about our ordinances, about these boards and commissions, will have an opportunity to do that.
So I can start on this and people can fill in. So when we initially had this discussion last fall, several council members were very specific about wanting to keep the group size small because it's very difficult the idea is it's very difficult to do this level of work when you have 10 people on it. And so that was when that decision was made to limit it. And then when we discussed it 2 months ago, like June 8th, I had set up a detailed agenda and asked people, to add to it if they had stuff. No one did, and we discussed group size again and who was in it. I thought the decision was again to keep it to those too. And I don't think the idea is not to allow other people to participate. I think that for me, I will definitely be seeking out input. We talked about I wanted to have, for instance, for me, it made sense, the group to meet, have a chat, and then do a public session with that group where you're inviting members of the public to come and share their thoughts, share their ideas. Hey, I have this article you could read and all that stuff, and having a very open dialogue with the community. But, so I guess I thought twice when we had that discussion, both last fall and then in June, everyone sort of wanted to keep that number small in order to keep it more productive. But everyone else feel free to chime in.
I agree with Jenny on that. That was the whole thing that we talked about it when Eleanor was in it. She's been part of a lot of small groups, and she said once it gets over like 5 people, it's not effective anymore. And I think people that do this all the time would tell you that you get too many people, you don't make as much effectiveness as you could if you keep it smaller. So, that was, I really agree with that. I still go with that. That was my thought at the time too.
I may be misunderstanding the mayor, but I think it's really just to fill the open spots that we have. I mean, I think we're still trying to keep things small, but perhaps we can, looks like we have a couple openings in a couple of the different things, and I don't see why we couldn't go to the community to get people involved in it. I mean, it's not,
Well, I guess what I thought maybe Mayor Knapper suggested is that once we had our new appointments, so the next step was going to be to send an email to our new appointees to see if they would like to fill those roles. And then, so I thought that was the next step based on our June discussion. And then we still have some after that. I guess the problem is we only have 3 open spots. So, at what point do you say, I choose you one community member and not you other community member? I guess for me, I see the value in each group, reaching out to the community and saying, hey, let's have these small group discussions. We'll have a virtual meeting this night. Please come share your expertise and your thoughts. But
so it is what Councilmember Falkingham said, and I should have been more clear. I never suggested that we grow the groups, but if we have if we have a committee that needs, one more person or an additional person, then I'd like for the ability to invite the public to want to apply and sit in on that. That's what I'm saying.
so do we not want to reach out? I mean, so what's the next step, I guess? Is the next step to actually ask those new appointees who were not a part of it before if they would like to, or are you wanting to go directly to the community?
I just want to open it up to the community. And we can also we can do both. I guess it doesn't have to be either or. I don't know if we're going to have people in the community scrambling to want to read over ordinances, you know what I'm saying? But, if they want to, then I'd like to give them an opportunity to do that.
I think for consistency's sake, we should ask for new appointees just since existing board members were given that opportunity, and then we could see what is left. Honestly, I thought our next step was going to be to start. We've been talking about this for over a year, and I'd like to launch rather than continuing to tweak our process.
Which is why I thought that was the next step. And then we got feedback pretty quickly from people. I think we've also had several board members who agreed to volunteer on more than one, which that's, up to the group. But to me, I was going to actually send an email tomorrow, but I was actually hoping, since I don't have access to any of my emails since before July, if Anthony still has the email that we sent last time, if he could just, if someone could just send that to the new people this week. And then I guess we would have an answer fairly quickly on whether there's any remaining openings.
Yeah, I agree. We should go to the new appointees first. I think just for consistency's sake and to move things along. Since we already have their emails, we already have their commitment to committees, and we know how many openings we have. That just to move the process along, we need to do that. Jenny, I probably have that email still in my email. If you want me to. Of course, I guess the city will need to send it out to the new members, but I can at least find it.
That would be great. I would appreciate that. Thank you.
Let me ask this question based on what Councilmember Phillips just said about emailing the new appointees first. If we do not receive any volunteers from that group, then does anyone have an objection to me contacting the folks that have submitted applications for appointment to boards and commissions and asking them if they would be interested?
I think that's a great idea.
Okay.
Great idea.
All right. Thank you.
Councilmember Schmidt or Councilmember Phillips, is there something you need from me or Anthony to follow up with an email?
Yes, I will see if Sandy has that email. I may have just sent it to Anthony, so I don't know if you do, Sandy, but if she doesn't have it, I will email Anthony and copy you.
Okay.
And it was just sort of a form email. And then he sent it to the specific people and asked them, or someone, or maybe, I think maybe Karen did it for him.
Okay.
I'm looking right now. But of course there's, hundreds of emails just in this folder. So
At least you have yours.
yeah, I know.
I have all mine.
All right. Anything more on item number 6? Okay. May I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Hi.
Hi.
All right. I'll
right,
see
see you.
you all. in
Yeah,
2
I'll be
minutes.
just a couple minutes, but I should be there hopefully on time.
Okay.
Okay.
See y'all.
See you.